Hello everyone. This video lecture is related to crisis leadership and the learning organization. Content of this video lecture include: first, explain why crisis leadership competence is an important consideration when hiring new leader. Second, identify the benefit of pre-crisis planning. Third, identify the key component of pre-crisis planning phase. Next, describing the 5 steps process to crisis risk manage assessment. Fifth, describe the role of CEO and communication in managing crisis. Sixth one, list 5 or more attributes that can be used to describe the learning organization. Seventh one, distinguish between the traditional organization and learning organization. Eighth one, describe the role of leadership in creating a learning organization. And last one, define the key terminology in the end of this chapter. So first of all, we start with crisis leadership. uh, Here the meaning of crisis is given. Crisis, it means emergency in normal sense. When any sort of emergency has been created in our organization, it is called crisis, which create a negative impact on the operation of organization. The situation or event which create a negative impact on your operation, it is called crisis. uh, Crisis is a low probability, high impact event that threaten the viability of organization, and it's characterized by ambiguity of cause, effect, and meaning of resolution, as well as by belief that decision must be made swiftly. While pre-crisis response will not prevent a crisis, it can minimize a financial loss and long-term damage to firm's reputation. If we make a proper plan for managing crisis, it will not avoid crisis, but it reduce the chances of crisis and its impact on damaging firm's reputation. It tried to reduce the financial loss, and it reduce the damage on reputation of the firm. So pre-crisis planning is most useful for the purpose of managing crisis. A crisis leadership training. Why crisis leadership training is so important? Here the scope is given. How an organization come out is highly depend on the quality of leader it had going into the crisis. How we are able to solve, and at which speed we solve the crisis, it is solely depend on our leader, types of leader, and ability of leader. Strong and effective leadership is imperative to organizational survival. If we have a strong leader, if we have effective leader, then we are able to survive smoothly and effectively within the crisis. Crisis leadership behavior. Aware of the type of power he or she possesses and the best way to apply each type in resolving crisis. Uh, it means a leader must be aware what type of power is required and what type of power he or she possesses for the purpose of solving any type of crisis. Prepared to adequate quickly to change and deal with higher level uncertainty and complexity. The leader must be able to solve any type of problem. They are able to handle any type of uncircumstances, uncertainty, and complexity. So it is a good behavior of crisis leader. Admitting mistake or offering positive feedback to claim a follower anxiety, to calm followers anxiety during difficult time. It means here the a crisis leader must have to accept the mistake of their subordinate, their follower, and try to give certain feedback or suggestion for the purpose of improve it. The impact of environmental factor include the importance of crisis leadership is intensified due to technological advance. Here, technology play vital role in a crisis management. We know that nowadays internet and communication network create a positive impact on crisis management. The internet and communication network allow millions to analyze and critique virtually every aspect of organization's response to crisis. A company today may have only minute, not hour, to uh, contain a crisis. A crisis can present opportunity for an organization to learn and adapt when the next crisis hit to the organization. So it is possible to identify and apply a proper solution through the way of telecommunication as well as network. Within a short period of time we are able to share our information as our crisis information with our every each and every member of the organization, with our top level management. In a case where company is located in various location, we can share our information with every department and every location of the country, right? A crisis management plan. An effective crisis management plan include uh, is a comprehensive with a clear leadership, team and individual assignment in the form of role and responsibility. A crisis management plan is a upgraded frequently and supported by training and periodic drill session. So it is very systematic. It upgrade uh, with a upgrade frequently within specified time limit. Also, the training must be given for the purpose of managing crisis management plan. uh, is coordinated and controlled across level and unit of the organization. It means it is controlled by whole level of organization. Basically top and middle level have a higher accountability for that, should address what happened before, during and after crisis. The crisis management plan focus on three aspects of crisis: uh, what the situation before the crisis, during the crisis, and what should be done after crisis. Assessing organizational readiness to respond to crisis. Readiness to respond to crisis is a function of every organization that include a knowing and accepting one's assigned role in the crisis management plan, sufficient training specific to the assigned role to enable one to perform his or her responsibility completely, uh, complementary and integrated role and responsibility at all level of organization, so that crisis management response is controlled by coordinator. Pre-crisis planning. A pre-crisis planning include or is the best way to mitigate the negative consequences of any crisis. If we prepare certain plan before any emergency or before any crisis to handle it, then it we are able to minimize the negative impact of crisis on our organization. So it is best way to mitigate the negative consequences of this type of emergency, and it is possible through the way of pre-crisis proper planning. Pre-crisis planning component include appointing a crisis leader, creating a crisis response team, and assessing the risk. Pre-crisis planning divided into three phases. In a first phase, we have to appoint a proper leader for a crisis management. And second thing, in the second phase, we have to create a unique crisis response team which is able to handle crisis, which is able to manage crisis. And third one, in the third phase, we have to assess the risk. Uh, we are able to solve the crisis or not, right? After what is the negative impact of crisis, we have to assess in third phase. First phase, a crisis leader. What is duty of crisis leader, what is function of crisis leader is prescribed over here. Scan and monitor internal and external environment for the potential threat or warning signal of crisis. So a leader scan the environment in internal as well as external and try to identify the potential threat threat point as well as warning sign. Require individual or department to keep a log of complaint or accident. Here certain data must have to maintain by all department or all functional area regarding complaint or any accident data. Next, monitor customer and employee complaint and behavior. Third, identify emerging pattern or trend in the regulatory environment, competitive landscape and social environment. Here the crisis leader tried to identify the external threat through the way of scanning, environmental scanning. Coordinate the activity of crisis management team to ensure that the member work well together. Here major role to play by a crisis leader is to coordinate or to integrate the activity of a response team, right? Next, crisis response team member should be comprised of diverse mix of the representative from all sector and level of organization. It means you have to create a unique team for the purpose of managing your crisis that include uh, uh, every member having heterogeneous nature. It means they are from various functional area and from the various department, like somebody from top level management, somebody from middle level, and somebody from bottom level. Also you have to appoint a people from marketing, from human resource, from the field of innovation, in the from the field of technology, production, etc. You have to identify variety of people, right? Must be calm, a self confidence, assertive, and dependable during a crisis. So these are the quality of member, right? In good, it is they are very calm, they have self confident, they are assertive, they are dependable during the crisis. Should receive comprehensive crisis response training and engage in frequent drilling, the simulation and actual crisis situation. So you have to provide necessary training to the same team member, right, regarding how to assess crisis. Must be trained to function as one unit with voice under the single unit command. Manage during crisis. An effective response in the event of crisis is critical to an organizational survival. An organization should make itself accessible as quick and openly as possible. Such quick action can help to preserve the credibility and reputation of organization and its leader during the crisis. So it means it is mandatory to take uh, immediate action at the time of occurrence of any crisis. And if you are taking your crisis management team or your crisis leader, if take immediate decision or immediate action on the crisis, then it can reduce the chances of damage. The role of senior leader include employee will seek guidance from company senior leader in the terms of how business operate will continue, a way to cope up with situation. It is the senior leader's responsibility to that include responsibility include stay engaged and lead from the front, focus on the big picture and communicate the vision, work with the crisis management team. These are the normal responsibility of a senior leader. Crisis communication. Effective crisis communication include it communication can make or break a firm's reputation in crisis. Require that the firm's pre-designed designated who will pick for the organization in the event of crisis is more believable when the firm's representative or spokesperson is a senior level manager than someone at lower level responsibility. Must provide honest and accurate answer uh, to be regards and effective. It means a communication is a thing which play a vital role during crisis. Your communicator, it must be from the side of top level management, not from the bottom level management, because a top level senior manager are able to handle any interview, any press conference at the time of crisis, and he is he having a quality to deal with such sort of situation. So here the management of communication is very difficult in a period of crisis. Benefit of an effective crisis communication system include short term benefit and long term benefit. Short term benefit include well informed employee will assist an organization in presenting the fact to the outside world. Employee may have excellent insight on the incident and valuable suggestion on the solution or alternative. Long term benefit include the organization will have won over the confidence, loyalty and commitment of employee. Employee appreciation, a sense of belongingness and self-worth is essentially enhanced. A culture of teamwork and cohesion is created. A principle of effective crisis communication. The first 24 hours of a crisis are crucial because of the media's need to know what happened so they can tell their audience. There is an information vacuum that if felt unified by the organization involved will be filled for for them by other. Telling the truth upfront is the simplest and most effective way of diffusing public hostility. Managing after crisis. A launch and evaluation, preferably by an objective third party, of the organization's effectiveness in managing the crisis. Focus the analysis on how effective was the crisis team, how effectively did the crisis management plan perform, how effectively were a victim and family member handled, what worked the least in mitigating the problem. Next topic, the learning organization and knowledge management. Learning organization is an organization that is skilled at creating, acquiring and transferring knowledge and at modifying behavior to reflect a new knowledge and insight. Learning organization is those kind of organization where you imparting new knowledge, new creativity, new skill into your employee for the purpose of replacing existing or traditional behavior of employee. Organizational knowledge is the tactic and explicit knowledge that individual possess about product, service, system and processes. Is often codified in manuals, database and information system. Difference between traditional and the learning organization. Organization today operate in environment characterized by continuous change. We know that nowadays every organization must have to change over a period of time. So we find a continuous change in organization nowadays. For some firm like the high tech companies, discontinued change occur when the anticipated or expected change bear no resemble resemble resemblance to the present or the past. Give the reality of the current environment. The traditional organizational form is being replaced by learning organization form. Here the difference between learning organization and traditional organization is given. Uh, First of all, traditional organization and then after learning organization. A stable environment, while in learning organization the environment is not stable, it is changing environment. You can find vertical structure in traditional organization. In learning organization, flat or horizontal structure are you can find. In traditional organization, strategy is formulated from the top and pass to bottom level, while in learning organization, strategy are defined in the in a collaborative manner, right? In traditional organization, centralized decision making are there, while in a learning organization, decentralized decision making are there. It means bottom level are also involved in taking top levels decision. In traditional organization, a rigid culture that is not responsive to change, while you can find a flexible and adaptive culture and norms in a learning organization. A formal system of communication tried to vertical hierarchy with lot of filter. You find a lot of restriction on communication into traditional organization, while in learning organization you find out a, a various personal group and flexible exchange of information, right? Characteristic of traditional organization. A traditional organization is based on the bureaucratic model of command and control structure with the centralized decision making, highly formalized task and rigid close culture. In learning in traditional organization, it is oriented toward the individual and reward are individualized. High has a mindset that there is only one right way to do the thing to be successful. Traditional organization is if is efficiency driven such that dividing from standard operating procedure is forwarded upon and mistake are viewed as a symptoms of poor performance. So here such sort of negative mindset are identified of a top level management. Here certain characteristic is given regarding learning organization. A learning organization Having organizational culture is open, proactive, and creativity driven. Uh, Use a flat or horizontal structure, interdisciplinary team and network system, provide open internal and external communication. Innovation and creativity is encouraged by designing tasks that are much looser, free flowing, and adaptive. Multiple learning processes allow learning to feed forward to the organizational level and feedback to the individual. People are encouraged to learn, to face challenges, experiment, fail, and reflect on experience. The learning organizational culture and forms performance. A research find the ability to create and share knowledge is positively related to new product development success. Organizational learning and knowledge creation have a direct positive influence on the level of innovation. A learning culture has a positive direct impact on the employee, customer, and supplier satisfaction level. Acquiring external knowledge positively impact creativity and learning process in problem solving. These are the facts which is derived from specific research regarding a learning organizational culture. If we if we find the organization having mentality of learn new thing, then we find we can avail or derive benefit of such sort of performance. The role of leader in creating learning organization. Knowledge management is a key leader function. Problem associated with the field efforts create a learning culture often attributed to poor learning leadership. Leaders face a dual challenge of maintaining efficient operation and creating an adaptive organization at the same time. Guideline for enhancing learning organization. How we are able to enhance learning into our organization, that include encourage creative thinking. We have to encourage people to think creatively, create a climate in which experimentation is encouraged, provide incentive for learning and innovation, build confidence in your follower to for the purpose of capacity expansion and to learn and adapt. Encourage system thinking. These are the all guidelines for enhanced learning organization. Thank you. Have a good day.